This is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded April 21st, 2014. Episode 195. Nuanced, Nomadic, Non-Essentials.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
It's just us again this week, dude.
Mm-hmm. Us and you and me in a Widlar poster. Our respective Widlar posters. I have one up now as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Haven't actually put mine up yet. I've got it mounted on a backboard and, all that sort of jazz. Yep.
Yeah, I'm terrible with I'm always just like, masking tape. It'll stick. Yeah. It'll stick to the wall, right?
Well, last time I tried to use bloody the blue tack stuff. I tried to put blue tack up, and it just falls. It's shit.
I've never gotten that stuff to work ever. I think it's like I'd expect it to work more in like warmer climates like yours, but it gets cold and it just immediately falls off.
Right. Yeah, no, it was hopeless. It lasted like a day or two, and then boop, all my posters just fell out, and it leaves the blue tack residue behind. You think I can get that crap off? No.
No.
You've probably seen in my videos near my whiteboard all this blue crap on the wall. That's what that is.
Well, boy. Man, you're gonna have to paint when you leave now. I guess you're the landlord too, but if you had a landlord, he would be pissed.
And now I've good thing I didn't bother getting it off, so now I've covered up a lot of it with my new acoustic panels that I've made. Yeah. So
right.
Exactly. If you can't get rid of it, just cover it up like the old hole in the wall. You put a picture over it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it could be bothered patching that.
Start throwing your soldering iron. You're getting angry or something, and put it through the wall.
Yep.
So you said you might get a new place. This is kind of new for you.
Well, it's not new. I did it 3 years ago.
Yeah, but what are you, like a turtle? You're a hermit crab? You just keep upgrading your shell every couple of years?
Well, everyone does that with their job, don't they?
I suppose so. Yeah, I guess so.
I think 2-3 years is the average time for someone in our industry to turn over their job, I think.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right number. That sounds about right.
Yeah,
so now it's just bigger and better offices for you, and leaving a trail of unoccupied commercial space you can sell out and rent out to people, right?
I can rent out to people. That's right. Hopefully,
Dave is the landlord now.
Oh goodness!
What you should do is somehow make sure they don't notice the blue tack when they move in, right? And then about 6 months later, you're like, "What is this blue tack over here?
Right.
You just lost your security deposit."
Oh goodness! Yes. I'm thinking about it. I just sort of made the spur of the moment. Well, there were two decisions. One was that we're looking at sort of for investment, financial sort of reasons. We're looking at getting a commercial property. And I thought, well, if we're going to do that, why don't why don't, instead of just, buying one and then renting it out as an investment, why don't I buy it and then move into it and, step up, use it myself.
Yeah. Right.
And then rent out my current one. Why not?
Yeah, well, you know that you're only going to buy something that you like, and that's probably going to be a good indication that other people would like it, instead of just being like, someone will probably like this.
Well, maybe, but, the other thing is that it makes the choice easy. Like, because I don't know if anyone's ever tried to buy an investment, an investment place, an investment property,
I'll speak for me, no.
Right, okay, well, there's an infinite... Well, I've never done it myself. Well, technically, we got this as an investment, but I moved into it,
Right,
so
right.
I'm basically doing that again. And because there's just an infinite amount of choice. But if your choice is based on what you want for yourself, then it totally limits it down and just makes it that much easier.
You're saying it just narrows the field even, like that.
It narrows the field.
Easier.
It just makes the choice a lot easier, rather than just having an infinite amount of choice.
Right.
See,
well, and all you
some
need to do is
people can
find
do that.
one person that's similar enough to you, and they'll probably rent it out afterwards.
Well,
You got 110,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm sure one of them might want to.
you're right. Or if anyone wants my old, well, I've got to find it. I haven't even started looking. Right after the show, I'm gonna go talk to the real estate agent and start looking. But it's not looking good, dude. I mean,
No?
it's bloody expensive. Well, this is Sydney, right?
Well,
It's
Cleveland
just
has got
ridiculous.
tons of investment proproperties. I'm just saying,
For the
Detroit
price
as
of
well.
a VCR, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
How much does a
All the space-
VCR cost these days?
Well, they're antique items, so $200,000.
Right. So they've gone up, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So you were also talking about mechanical stuff. That was the other thing that surprised me about this, though.
Well, here's the original idea, right? Like a few weeks back, I thought, a month ago or 2 months ago, we started, talking about, we might, get into hideous debt again and try and get an investment property, right? It's not like I got money coming out my ears,
Right.
Anyway, and then I thought, well, if I'm going to upgrade, why not get better internet? So,
Of course, yeah. You're always complaining
move
about
into
that,
an office. Yeah, exactly. Move into an office which is slightly bigger. I'd also want an upgrade in size, of course. No point moving in the same size box. But so that was my requirement, is that I'd look around and I'd search for something with a kick-ass internet connection. You think I could find one? No.
Well, you're on the backwater,
That idea went well because our national broadband network that they're installing. Right?
Yeah.
There is not a single commercial office park business park in all of Sydney that has the national broadband network connected. It's ridiculous. They're the only place they're installing it is new housing estates. So I can go buy a new house in a new housing estate, and I can get 40 megabits per second upload. Fantastic.
Oh,
right?
God, that'd be awesome.
I know, right? Kick ass.
Could you just do that and just be like, oh, well, this house is now my office, right?
This house is now my office. Well, you could, that's...
and install like a fireman pole, right? You're
right,
good, right? I mean,
I know. That's my dream, is to have a fireman's pole.
Everyone, Dave, everyone.
Yeah. Anyway, so I looked around, because the National Broadband Network's got this map on their website showing exactly which areas are connected, which areas will be connected, etc. And there was nothing.
Huh.
So, basically nothing. So, I went, oh, well, screw that. And then I got the idea of, well, if I'm going to upgrade, why don't I get a combined office and warehousey type space? If you know the ones I mean. Usually, they're a big warehouse and you walk up the stairs to one of those mezzanine offices up top, kind of thing. So you've got yourself the big roller door, you can bring in big stuff and, all that sort of jazz. Sort of, half and half kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then I could actually set up like a real mechanical workshop and have real toys out there, which is something I can't do here because this is a commercial office building. You can't. It's not like I can bring up big lathes and CNC
you can't
machines
jackhammer inside an office park,
exactly.
Right?
I can't blow stuff up and and things like that.
Right.
And of course,
So
I
you need to
can't
move
do
in.
that at home. I've got nothing at home. I've got like a little toolbox. That's the extent of my mechanical workshop at home, and it's always been very disappointing. So I can't, go out and buy all these cool things you see on the auction sites. Oh, look, there's a magnetic imaging resonance machine. Oh, holy shit, for $50. But no, you think I can get it? No.
Oh, right. Well, you wouldn't want that. Local Sydney man cut in half after he turns on magnet and a bunch of metal stuff was sitting behind him.
That's it.
So does this mean though that you are going to be getting into like machining as well? Or like we talking like heavy duty type stuff as well?
Well, I could, right? I mean, I've got no plans, right? But when I've got a space like that, I always see it. I go through the auction sites and I see, oh yeah, look at that CNC machine, and they get, it's $1,000. And like, holy crap, I'd love to have that and learn how to, play with these things, but I've got nowhere to put it.
Am I mistaken in thinking that you made fun of me when I started learning machining? I mean, am I remembering this wrong? I thought I remembered you making fun of me and saying
I don't think so. I don't think I made fun of you.
Okay, all right. Well, so the first plan is to buy a bunch of junk online and then learn how to use it afterwards. And I'm sure there would be like
no. The first step is to actually find a place that I can afford.
I guess you could start doing. I mean, if you really wanted to, then you could start upgrading. Pick and place type stuff as well. I mean, you could always find that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, I can't even use my reflow oven here in the office, right? Because the smell is just too bad, right? There's no ability to, get fume extraction in here, and just stuff like that. I just can't do. I can't use chemicals in here. I can't etch my own boards. I can't, do all that sort of jazz. It's just impossible. You can't do that in a commercial office environment. I can, I shouldn't even be soldering in here.
Really? Oh wow. Okay.
Well, it's, at a lot of companies, you are not. It's against the OH&S rules. You're not allowed to solder in a reticulated, air-conditioned office environment.
Oh, because the air comes back through.
The air recirculates, and stuff like that.
Right.
And, So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What about those? They got those filter pads in the back of the solder fan thing. Don't those do everything?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right.
I was looking at this, I'm like, that's it? That's what we're doing here?
That's what we're doing.
Okay.
So anyway, I have no idea, but once you've got the space, you would come up with ideas. That's the thing I'm thinking.
All right. So buy a lot of stuff, fill in the space, and then
that's it, and then
redo
play
it
around with it.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay.
Yep.
So it's kind of like now, right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, I just buy shit to play with.
Right.
It's fun.
That's good. Okay. Cool.
Why not?
Well, hey, man! If you're going to do it anyways, why? I think that makes a lot of sense. That's a good idea, and I'm sure there's a lot of cool stuff you could do.
Dream is just to have a really well kitted out lab with lots of cool toys that they just dick around with.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even if you don't do anything practical with it, they just They're just cool to dick
around.
I mean,
you're just like, oh yeah, I know I could build anything I need to, even though I don't have anything to build right now. Right?
Yeah,
That's the
exactly. Well,
the what if scenario.
Why did you buy your CNC machine? I mean,
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean,
right? You just wanted to play around with one, right?
Yeah. I wanted to learn how to machine
You probably
metal
had some end goal, or you maybe had some, idea of what you might use it for. But ultimately, it's just a toy, right, to play around with.
Yeah,
it's a hobby.
Yeah. Right now, it's definitely still a toy. It's there's nothing else happening with it right now. Much like you, everything comes in steps, right? I mean,
You're right.
First step, start an online electronics course. Next step, figure it out after the first step.
Right. Speaking of steps, you've got a big step coming up, don't you? That you won't even tell me about, you bastard.
Oh yeah, there's something big coming up. But I did take a step already. I'm working part-time for a company called Supply Frame, and it's been great actually. So that's why I've been traveling a lot, out to like LA and stuff like that, and working with them, and basically working on like new websites to work with the supply chain type stuff. So basically making finding parts easier. So obviously Find Chips. So they own Find Chips. Yep. They own Hackaday and stuff like that. So
they sponsored by Forum.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's been great so far.
So you basically consult for them, pretty much.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's like part time, and it's been really good. I mean, great people, and the data that's out there, like I've never been a data guy, but just like the amount of data that's like available, and like the stuff that you can learn about parts and how to find new parts that way, and how to find like better price parts and stuff like that. It's just crazy. So I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff with that and kind of like helping develop new tools for that kind of thing. And like Dave alluded to, there's something big coming up. So I'm excited about that. And I will mention
a few weeks.
In 2 weeks. We got a guest show next week, so I'll mention it on the show in 2 weeks.
Oh,
maybe I'll tell Dave before then. Maybe, probably not though. But yeah, so I've been traveling a lot more though because of this, and like I said, it's been a really good experience. But so I've been traveling, and obviously I'm also doing the course, and the course I'm moving into the second week of contextual electronics.
Yep.
And so, you're talking about, a big stationary lab. Well, what I've been starting to think about is like, well, what if I'm traveling and like Maker Faire, right? Maker Faire's in the middle.
Of course. Yeah, you want a portable lab.
Of the course. And exactly, I need a portable lab. I need some way to actually be able to work on the road. And I've been kind of researching this thing, and it's tough, right? I mean, I'm sure you've looked at this kind of idea before. I mean,
yep.
Like just
like in a suitcase kind of thing, that has a lab power supply. It's got an oscilloscope, it's got a multimeter, it's got a soldering iron, and all your basic, hand tools and stuff like that.
So the nice thing is that so the Bench Buddy, the thing that we're developing for contextual electronics, is actually would fit really well in there, right? It's a multi-tool, right? It's supposed to have all that stuff, and so that would fit really well. But then you're right, like the soldering iron and having DMMs and everything else, and everything you need for working on electronics, right? And I think I could figure that stuff out, right? There's Pelican cases. If I needed to, I could go big. I could do this, right? I know I can. It's a matter of money and how much hassle I want when I'm actually, rolling stuff around, if I'm going to rent a car or not.
Yep.
And but the thing that gets me is, how do I get through airport security unmolested?
Tell us.
So I was thinking about this as out walking the dogs with my wife and thinking about it, and I was thinking, the only thing I've ever heard where you can lock your luggage and they can't open it is when you have a gun. That is the only time that that you legally have to lock your luggage. They actually are not allowed to have a key for that. Everything else, they are allowed to cut the lock off. Anything like that. So I was joking around with my wife about that, and then I was talking to some friends about it, and someone sent me a site, and there's a guy that does this, right? And he goes to conferences and all this other stuff, and he packs heat basically, and I was thinking about it, and the first thing I thought about, I was like, oh man, Dave's gonna have a field day with this. Americans packing guns to keep things safe, right?
Yeah, of course. Well, you can't go to Hamvention with that. They ban you. There's a gun ban at Hamvention.
Yeah, that's coming up. The first year it's changed, right? But then I started remembering, and I remember reading about this in the past that I had just forgotten about it, where photographers would do the same thing. They would pack a starter pistol in with their camera gear because same kind of thing happened. They would pack these $5,000 lenses. And they get broken. And so they started packing starter pistols because starter pistols count as guns.
Starters, right. Yeah.
And they're cheaper and everything else. And
and they're not really a gun, right? You can't kill people, so you can...
you could, but it'd be really hard.
You'd have to shoot him in the eye or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'd be bad.
Right.
But so this has been the first time I've ever legitimately considered buying a gun.
You Yanks, just to get around the fact that your TSA sucks and you live in a security, you live in a police state. So the answer for you Yanks is always more guns. That's always the answer.
There's the response, folks. I knew it.
Well, am I not wrong?
No, you're totally right. And I wouldn't even say police state though. It's kabuki theater, right? I mean, there's still stuff that happens. Yeah. And I mean, some of it, it discourages this stuff, but yeah, I mean, so basically, this is for checking your luggage, right? I wouldn't be able to carry it on, obviously.
Right, of course.
But yeah, I mean, and it's serious too.
You wouldn't be able to carry on any electronics lab anyway. Pretty much. I mean, imagine trying to get it through the scanner.
Right. Well, yeah, and so Steve Hofer actually has a post about this on his site, and I'll link it in there. But basically, his thing is like, if you label everything and you have a note in there, please don't mess up my stuff. Please don't. Basically, if you're nice about it and you just kind of you don't get angry. You kind of stay in a zen state. You can do it, but it's still a hassle. Or you could check your baggage through, but they still might scan it and open it up and mess with your stuff. And my main thing is I just want it to get there, right? And some people say, you could ship it too. Right, you could ship your stuff.
Oh, of course, yeah, courier, yeah.
Yeah, right, and that's another way to do it, and that's very legitimate.
And then it's guaranteed to get there. It's got tracking, the whole thing.
Right, but but then you have to like ship it to a hotel, and I don't know, like maybe that's better. But maybe a gun's the way to do it too. I'm just very intrigued by the idea. I don't know. I'm just intrigued by it.
Yanks, your minds are just incredible. How you think? I mean, it's just...
Well, thank you, Dave. That's so nice of you to say. So I was talking to someone when I was out at EE Live. There was a startup that actually was doing some kind of like retrofit for guns for police officers, so it could tell when the gun was shot or fired or shot or reloaded or dropped or anything like that. And actually, really, really cool startup. But the guy was telling me about that too, and he said that he had talked to a gun salesperson, and basically, you talk about like extra special handling, right? So this gun salesperson had done all the right things and checked all his bags through, and the bag didn't show up, right? You or me or Joe Blow, anyone else, your bag doesn't show up. They say, "Oh, we'll ship it to you," right? Well, his bag didn't show up, and he had ATF agents like standing over the baggage guy and making sure his bag got there, right? I mean, like that is just
right. Exactly, because it's got a bloody AR-15 rifle in it,
I don't think it had that, but yeah, I mean...
well, are they going to do that for a starter pistol? Do they care what's in there? Do you have to declare what type of gun, or you just, it's a start,
I don't think so. You have to say if there's ammo with it, and then that makes things different, but if it's just... Basically, if it's just like a tracked gun, it has a serial number on it, that's ultimately what matters, and...
Right.
And basically what you do is you show that it's in there, you put a special tag on it, you show that it's locked, and then it gets there.
You have to show, so you've got to open it up and show them that there's a gun in there.
Yes, right. And there's like a form.
So you've got to turn up to the airport and, flash your gun.
Yeah. And so there's this great site about it too. Just because it's this tech guy that's done this, and he basically, his story was he had traveled and he basically put the approved locks on. You can lock your luggage normally, but basically he got a bunch of stuff stolen and broken, and he said, "You know what? That's it.
That's it.
And
I'm going for guns."
That's what it comes down to. You could totally do that, right? But that it's just a life hack, right? I mean, this is just one way to ensure that your stuff's gonna have a different handling criteria than otherwise, and I'm really interested in it. I have no interest in guns.
You're promoting the system.
Dave, it's already there, though, right?
Oh, come on.
Well, yes, maybe it perpetuates the system, but it's there for a reason, right? It's better than asking people to. I mean, like, it's like saying that, okay, people aren't going to have guns. Oh, you just can't have guns. Okay, but that's just ignoring reality, right? I mean, people in America do have guns.
That's why you Yanks are in the situation that you're in. Which is totally different to every other country on the planet. That's why you guys are in your position, because your society. This is how your society thinks.
Well, I don't really care about the political issues right now, Dave. All I care about is my gear getting there safely. I don't care about owning guns. I don't care about anything else. I care about my gear getting there safely, and if that means that I have to do a workaround to make sure of that, right? If there was a way that I could pay $20 extra and the same thing would happen, right? I would do that.
Well, it's called a courier.
And maybe that's shipping it. Maybe it is.
Well, then just bloody ship the thing.
Well, maybe I will. I mean, I want to try a bunch of different things, but I think this is just a really interesting life hack. And I know there's a lot of opinions around guns, but I don't care right now. That's not the point. I don't think it's better or worse.
So what type of gun would you get?
The cheapest kind I could.
Right. One of those Saturday night specials, right?
Yeah, it was. No, that's why I was on like a sporting goods site, and I was looking at it, and it looks.
Now you're on gun shopping sites.
No, it wasn't gun shop, Dave. It was like an outdoor store, you know?
Yeah, it was Walmart, right? Yeah.
It wasn't Walmart, but whatever. It was like
whatever.
And it looked like a gun, but I'm pretty sure that, like, when you look at the dimensions, and it was like, it said it's like fits in the palm of your hand or something super tiny,
Dude, so. 3D print it. 3D print it.
There you go. Yeah.
And then you can get arrested for owning an illegal firearm.
Right.
At least in some states, other states they don't give a shit.
Right.
Yep.
I should have known this would have taken a dark turn. But Dave, let me tell you, I don't have any opinion on guns other than I'm interested in how this can help me hack around the system, and I think it's really interesting.
No, I think you're crazy. Just ship the bloody thing.
Yeah, maybe you're right too. It may, and that's the other question, right? Maybe it's too much hassle when you get there, right?
Get an account with FedEx or something, and then just
Oh yeah, I have one. Yeah. But I mean, it's
There
the
you
same
go.
kind of thing, right? It's about like, okay, so you could ship it somewhere, and it says it's delivered, and then it just disappears, right? There's no like, who is there to?
You ship stuff to hotels. It's not going to vanish.
I don't know that. I mean,
Have a bit more faith in the human race. Really.
okay, sure.
Unbelievable.
Well, okay, so beyond the gun thing and beyond the shipping of stuff, there is actually there was an interesting one on who was this? Oh, this is the guy he's actually doing a Kickstarter thing as well. But he has a post about he actually has a full SMT workstation, and he actually built in a microscope into it too. He actually has a binocular microscope built in. It's a nice little setup here. It's two like metal cases. I don't know if he'd.
I've got it open. Yeah. He's put them into like an aluminium flight case kind of thing.
Yeah, like they're just cheapies from Harbor Freight, but
Yep.
um,
And it's got like a wooden work surface. I assume you lift that up and there's tools underneath that work surface, right? That's where you keep the tools.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it
And
seems like it's got everything you need, right?
Yeah, he's got a little scope
power
in there
supplies,
under the padded. Yeah.
DMM.
Yeah, that's a neat. Yeah, I would love to do something like that as a build, like as a project.
right.
I don't know when I'd ever use it, but just the fact of doing it and figuring out how to do it optimally would make a real interesting video.
Right. This kind of reminds me. So I've been really like obsessing over the time.
It's kind of like a Ben Heck style build. You know?
Right. Yeah, Ben did that portable 3D printer actually.
The portable 3D printer and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a similar sort of thing.
And it's almost like a I've been really into like the whole tiny house movement. I think I've mentioned that to you.
Yeah, you have.
And it's I love it because it's like it's the whole thing is like, you live in these like less than 200 square foot houses and stuff like that, and basically my engineer brain goes crazy because it's this amazing set of constraints, and it's the same kind of thing here where it's like you're trying to optimize every bit of space and
Yep.
I think with me it probably would just end up being messy.
There's so many people who would want these. People living in dorm rooms. I hear all the time. You Yanks who live in dorm rooms, crazy. And you, and I hear it all the time. Look, I haven't even got room for an oscilloscope. And like, well, gee.
Yeah, well, that is always a problem,
like
right?
Where you can keep it under the bed, slip it, pull it out, and boom, there's your little portable workshop. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's it, exactly. Like you might have a great table, but if you have to repack everything every time, that's really disruptive.
Exactly. No, that's really disruptive. So what requirement do you set? Does everything have to be battery powered, or can you zip out a mains cord from it? Zip it out like it's a vacuum cleaner. Have it coiled up inside, and
I don't think you don't have to go off grid with this, Dave. I mean, like that would be
okay.
You'd have to go to a butane soldering iron at that point, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, you can a butane or a DC powered soldering iron, and then you can power
but then
it
you
all
got to carry
from
around a
batteries.
friggin' car battery.
Yeah, I know. You got to carry around a lead acid battery and keep it charged up and everything. Yeah. I think you would have to limit it to a mains thing.
Dave doesn't want people to be able to carry guns around, but he'd like to carry around this 40-pound block of acid.
I think this is really neat. Like custom cutouts in the foam. I always love that. I always love
me too. Yeah,
that.
Pelican cases.
Gear. Yeah, Pelican cases and cutting foam. Because we used to do that a lot for shipping. Especially in our seismic industry, all the test gear had to go off site. And we had to, test on the back of a ship, or we had to test in a factory or a warehouse or a dock somewhere, and we'd always build in, test instruments into, these fancy cases and stuff, and it was great.
Yeah,
it's good fun, and you can do and you make your own custom length mains leads, that are just long enough, so that it snakes within inside the case, and it's just all
all
beautiful. Yeah. Huh. Oh, yeah, you don't just use a regular 1 meter length of mains cable and then just have all the cords flapping all over the place like an octopus.
I see.
No,
Okay.
you actually custom make them to the exact length.
Huh.
You know? Yeah.
Well, yeah, that does sound. I mean, yeah, it's like it's. I'm trying to think. It's not like bonsai trees. There's some other thing where it's like you have like everything. That whole like idea of like everything in its right place kind of idea. I feel like it's the Japanese type of like organizational system.
Right.
I don't remember what it's called though. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's probably a name for it.
So yeah, I think this will be. I mean, and there's a lot of posts online about this kind of thing as well.
There's a lot of people who've done it, and everyone has a different take on it. So.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'd have to. I think another piece of this too is kind of interesting seeing how we're moving over time, right? With like laptops and tablets and all this other stuff, and like throwing a tablet in there might be an interesting thing as well. I'm guessing if I'm traveling somewhere, I'd probably have a laptop still, but if you really want to go extreme, you put in a tablet into it or something like that, and then you make it really...
See, for me, as far as the microscope goes, I wouldn't put an optical microscope in there. I'd be tempted to somehow use like a digital microscope with a little tablet-y type screen in there or something like that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And then you could use the tablet, of course, as, like an internet connection with your data sheets and everything
data sheets
else,
and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, so there's the reason I bring up tablets is someone mentioned this on Twitter, actually, but there's a splice...
and then, of course, once you've got that infrastructure in place, then you start looking at those little USB scopes and things like that, maybe instead of a real scope. Perhaps, because you're so
if you want to go super light, right? I mean, if you don't want the infrastructure of like a full power supply.
Well, a scope is probably the biggest thing you'd ever put in one of these things, right? It'd be your biggest item. So, that's one of the things where a portable scope actually could be a huge advantage.
That's true. I don't think I haven't seen. So I was looking around at scopes and stuff like that, and I didn't see. I mean, there's the Osseum. That's the one I've seen that works with iPads.
Yeah. There's a couple of them out there, I think. But anyway, it's not a huge selection. But that comes down to your requirements that you set yourself, right? You can go, well, I want a sort of at least semi-professional kind of level, capability in this thing, which means you've got to have a real scope, right? You don't have a dicky USB scope.
Right. There's so for organs actually, so not human organs, but like pianos, right? Like Hammond organs. They're these big like consoles made out of walnut, and so like rock musicians, they wouldn't actually. Some of them cart these things around, but others they actually chop them up and they put them into travel cases, kind of the same idea. And that would be interesting, right? You take a scope that you have and you refactor it into your form factor here, right?
Yes.
So that you get the super high end, sampling chips on board, and you can shrink down the power supply. Maybe you have a more modern power supply that you can fit in, or you need to like readjust it, right? That would be interesting. Just trying to do that stuff. And then having a replaceable screen, right, Dave? That's what I'm saying.
Right. Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
But no, this is now you've got me wanting to do this. Now I want to do this as a project, but I put all the work into it and it makes one video out of it, so it's a lot of work to...
Well, no, it'd be a couple builds. I'm sure that'd be a good build.
Well,
log,
I could do a multiple build video, like here's all my requirements and I'm going to, build this. Here's my case selection, and here's me building all the custom internals for the case, and et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Yeah.
You build a custom size ESD mat to fit in there. One of the work mat surfaces. One of those. A proper.
Yeah. Then you have like a retractable cord on the side that you just plug into the mains, the earth ground, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
I like that.
It's now you've got me lusting after doing this, you bastard. As if I didn't have enough shit to work on.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say the next step would be you have to travel anywhere, right?
Right,
Mister, yeah. I buy labs that are walking distance from my house.
Right. Yeah. That's right.
You can finally bring your lab home with you again, though, right? I guess that would be one thing. You could work at home.
Yeah, that's cool. It's,
Yeah.
Or I could just build it and then, auction it off or something. It could be one of those,
Yeah, actually, Ben does that. They do that. Element 14 and Ben Heck does that.
Yep, yeah, they do that. They auction off his builds.
Yeah, it's cool.
So, well, they don't auction them off. They actually give them away. I think you enter a draw to give it away. But yeah,
and I think he might have actually. I might have to look at his stuff again. I think he might have done a portable bench at one point in addition to the portable 3D printer.
Could have, yeah, likely, very likely. But there you go.
So this
I like it.
This tablet thing though, someone recommended it on Twitter. And there's actually, so it's a Spice app, right? And so I'm like, at first I'm like, oh, this is gonna, whatever, like who cares?
You're right. It's a dime a dozen.
Well, yeah, and it's like, okay, I have LT Spice, I'm fine. But actually, what's interesting about this is not, it's just using a Spice. I'm pretty sure it's using a Spice engine on the back end. But the interesting thing is actually how it illustrates current flow. It actually shows like current flowing through. At least it's showing it on the demo stuff, but like flowing through LEDs and stuff like that, and actually,
Sweet.
Where it's going from which point to which other point. And this is the first one where I'm like, oh, okay, this is where like like some of the UI designers and kind of getting a hold of this stuff. This could be really, really interesting. So there's a free version. It's Android based,
as in a visual learning tool. Yeah, I can picture this being quite good.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Because that's a hard thing to do, right? You look at a schematic, right? I remember this as I was, coming up, right? You look at a schematic, you see lines going everywhere, and it's like, well, which direction are those lines going? It's like, oh, well, where's the current going? And that's a tough concept to learn, and so this kind of showing that actually could really, really be useful during the learning process.
Totally.
So, I haven't had a chance to try it.
What's the name of this thing?
It's called Every Circuit.
Every Circuit.
And there's a free version, and then the paid version is $10, I think, which is
awesome. Yeah, which is
it's nothing, right?
Free almost. Yeah. It's nothing.
Although I do have that mental block. I know a lot of Apple people, like it's like priced in where like they just buy apps. It's like, oh, no big deal.
Right.
For Android, for some reason, I'm like, oh, well, why isn't everything free? But it's kind of silly, right?
Yeah. It's dumb.
Yeah. So this is on the to check out list, and I was thinking about this for because of this mobile build idea, trying to try this thing out.
It does look pretty cool, and you can get lots of awesome visualizations, and this looks very impressive. It's very colourful. It's very colourful, that's for sure.
Right.
And, there's sort of all these things glow, and, the current paths glow and change colour and, do all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff. So, yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah.
The good thing about that is that it doesn't have to really be like a kick-ass Spice engine. It just has to do the basics because it's just a learning tool. No one who seriously wants a Spice tool would use this, right? It's a,
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm sure this is on par with like the, what's that one online? I've forgotten.
The web-based one, yeah.
There's a couple web-based simulators that do the same kind of thing, and yeah, they're good. They get the general idea, but yeah, you're not going to use it to design your next IC, right? You're gonna which is what a lot of the Spice. If people don't know, that's what Spice was designed for, right? You're doing.
It was.
Spice is meant for modeling semiconductor physics, and that's a lot different than what a lot of people use it for.
In fact, that's part of its name, right? Integrated. What's it stand for?
I don't know. Integrated circuit environment, is that the ICE?
Yeah, something. That's the ICE, yes.
Right. Well, we should work the plug-in now. So we're going to have next week Mike Engelhardt from LT Spice. So he's like the guru at Linear Tech.
Yep.
He's going to be on our show next week. So
excellent.
We will ask him all about Spice.
Here you go. Spice stands for Simulation Program with Integrated Circuit Emphasis.
Oh, there we go. All right.
There you go. That's a Spice. Yeah.
We'll still have Mike on, even though
to do. It was it was not designed for macro level circuit design. It was designed for silicon based integrated circuits.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, they just expanded that out.
See, now, what is your history with spice over time? Have you used them all?
I wouldn't say I've used them all. I've used a handful of them, maybe, over the last 20 odd years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wonder if you've seen them improve over time too, because it's interesting, right? I mean, this is effectively a commoditized version of it now, right? It's being on a free app market, and that's just interesting seeing how it's changed over time. And
well, and it originally is a command line tool, and it still is, right? The Spice engine that you're talking about is just that. It is a command line tool. You feed in a netlist, a text file, and which has all the commands, which has the netlist and everything in it, and it executes it. And regardless of what Spice program you're using, they're just a wrapper around that. They're just a pretty wrapper. So all the innovation has gone around the wrapper. I mean, the Spice engine hasn't changed much since the 70s when the bloody thing was invented. I don't think it's changed a huge amount anyway.
Well, I think there's convergence stuff. Like, they're getting better at convergence and stuff like that.
There's been improvements in the algorithm, but ultimately, it doesn't really go hugely noticed. Where all the improvements have been are always been in the GUI. How easy is it to use? That's always been the question you would ask with the Spice tool. How easy can I draw my circuit?
Right.
How easy can I get results? How easy can I get waveforms up? Right. That's that's the thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll be asking all about that next week, and people can submit their own LT Spice questions as well. So we'll get to that next week. Yeah,
because he's like the only guy that works on it, right?
I don't know. We'll have to ask him about that. I think he's the main guy. I don't know if he's the only guy.
He used to be. Yeah. And, well, I think it started out as a fun thing he was working on the side, and then they caught on. Ooh, this is popular, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. I'm excited.
Yeah. Exactly, but LT Spice is not the easiest to use. It's by far not the easiest Spice tool I've ever used. So yeah, I like it. It is the one I use, but yeah, it's not that easy to drive, especially for first timers. It's not that easy and intuitive. Things like these apps we've been talking about, right? They're infinitely easier to use. So, yep, there's lots of traps for young players. But LT Spice is like a professional level tool. You can use it for serious business. It's not designed for the average Joe to come up and just throw in a few components and it works.
Right.
It's not that easy.
Right. Yeah. I saw Paul Rako was writing about it when he was still at EDN or E-Times, whatever. He said he talked to a Maxim designer who uses it every day.
Right. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Doesn't every company have their own flavour of it now? TI have their own one, don't they? And
they were all licensing different ones.
Right. Oh,
yeah. I remember we talked about that a couple weeks back.
We did. That's right.
Analog dropped theirs, and because they were using NIs, and then which is still available, but it's it was it's like they kind of buy their way out of it, which is whatever if they don't want to focus on it, but they all have solutions, and then there's always the I think is it Orcad has it, whatever whoever owns P-Spice.
Yeah.
Mentor maybe. Yeah,
and it's. Bloody hell. There's so many of them.
Yeah, right.
They're a dime a dozen.
Mm-hmm.
News.
What's news?
Well, it's old news, but it's hilarious news. Google recalled all of the Nest. They stopped. They stopped shipping them. The Nest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, you hate Nest.
No, it's just hilarious to follow. It's just hilarious to follow, because there's no way it's worth the billions and billions. It's just ridiculous.
It's data, man. And, I'm telling you, data's where it's at. I'm indoctrinated now.
No. I was watching. I think it was a stand-up comedian. So I can't remember who. The name will not come to me. Anyway, they were talking about this sort of thing, and these big buyouts for these companies that are, like they've got no tangible product worth anything really. Or they, and they spend billions and billions of dollars. It may be that they were talking about Facebook or something, and Facebook,
like Oculus or something,
IPO or something like that. They were talking about this sort of stuff, and they went, if Facebook is worth $14 billion, imagine what a company with a real product would be worth. It's like,
yeah,
and it's true. All these companies that are just in the cloud and bullshit and just and the valuations are just in la la land. Right. And they don't. And we were talking about this the other week. When somebody buys a company with real fabs and everything that makes chips, that actually makes real tangible stuff and has real tangible assets, right? That's worth money.
Yeah,
right.
And well, we think so, right? We're hardware guys.
Yeah,
I mean, we're
exactly. And
what do we know, Dave?
I know. And some of those cheap things are cheap in comparison to all the hype surrounding, this huge. It's just a bubble again, right? It's going to burst again.
Well,
right.
So
all this tech bubble's going to burst.
There's an interesting piece of news this week too. So talking about hardware, and especially a lot of these companies that are not necessarily like Google has done hardware in the past. Obviously, they have the X team, which is doing hardware. That's like Google Glass and a couple others. But like other companies are doing this too, right? So Nike had started up a fuel band team, right? And that was a wearable device. Wearables are very big right now too. And it basically
they're all Yeah, wank.
Yes. And who else? Intel bought some wearable company for like $100 million or something as well.
Right.
And so Nike had this. I think they actually started this team. But basically, it was a wearable tracker, and it worked with an iPhone, but it didn't work with Android. And basically, there was news this week that they just kind of shuttered the whole operation. Rather, they just said, "No, we're done."
Shut it down. Yeah. No, because they bought it because it was all the hype and their share price, jumps, and because it was the in thing to do a year or two back, right? So they did it, and now they realise it's just, never going to make money on this. Just kill it.
Right. Well, that's going to be interesting to see, especially in the wearables market.
It's going to happen to Nest. Come on, it's going to happen to Nest. Well, I didn't finish my story. Did you hear why they actually stopped? They stopped selling it.
No.
Because you can wave your hands at it, right, to actually control the thing, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's got some. I don't know. It's got some sensor in it. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, apparently, gesture-based thing, and apparently, if you wave your arms the wrong way, it turns off your smoke alarm. Right?
Oh,
it
this
shuts
is for
it
the
down.
Smoke alarm. Okay.
Right? Yeah. This is for it's just got stupid written all over it. It's just facepalm. Hang on. Ugh. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You put a bloody, pyroelectric. You put a sensor in a thing with a couple of op amps and a 9-volt battery. Job done.
Yeah.
There is no reason to go high tech with this shit. It's just.
See, I wouldn't
just doing it for the sake of it.
I mean, I wouldn't discount it for that. I mean, I think there could be other applications because they were trying to roll other stuff in there, right? That's what the ultimate thing was.
There's no point to it.
I wouldn't buy it myself. Yeah, right.
Exactly. It's stupid.
But that's
it's
the thing,
a fad.
Dave. No, this is going to keep happening, right? We're going to keep getting upset about this, but this is going to keep happening. Everybody's going to step up to the plate and say, "I have the platform," right? Look at me, I have a
platform for your home. And they're going to fail every time. KISS will always win. Right, all these smart light bulbs being controlled by your bloody iPhone. No, people just want a bloody switch on the wall. It's always going to win.
Well,
always.
I think people always want to pay less. I think in general, price usually wins unless there's some other thing there, right? I mean, of course, I say this as a cheapskate, so I'm not sure. I'm never going to buy one of these LED bulbs unless it's the same price as everything else, right? I mean, or not LED bulbs, but like the multicolor bulbs. I would buy it if there was a reason. If I think it's going to last a long time, or I think there's some other benefit, but just because I can switch it on from my smartphone and have Barry White start playing, right?
Right, it's pointless. You aren't going to do that, right? Because it's a wank, right? You just want to turn your lights off and on,
right? Well, I'm torn.
And it's
I
more
feel
convenient to have a permanent switch on the bloody wall.
Well, no,
that you walk
I think that's
past
a
as you
backwards
head
look
to
at
bed.
it.
Turn off the lights.
No, that's a backwards look at it, right?
It's always going to be niche. I'm not saying it's useless, right? Some people
You
are going
know,
to have
no one is ever going to get rid of their
desire.
buggies and their buggy whips. What do we need these newfangled automobiles for? I mean, that's what you sound like right now, Dave. I mean, like there is a reason that people might get rid of it for usability's sake. But what I'm saying is
saying there's not. I'm saying mainstream is always going to be keep it simple, stupid. Mainstream is always going to want it as dumb as possible.
I disagree with a caveat of I think they'll keep it simple as long as it's affordable, right? I think that's what it comes down to. You know, people buy what's affordable, and they're not going to pay extra unless there's some actual benefit, right? This is my inner economist.
No, I'll tell you what. Even if I got all LED bulbs in my, multicolored RGB bulbs all throughout if it was free, and I had to control it from my phone, I wouldn't want it. Okay, even if they were paying me, I'll pay you $1,000 and we'll come around, we'll install all RGB bulbs in your house, but you have to control it with your smartphone. I'd tell them to piss off, right?
Okay, I do agree with that. I do agree. No, I do agree with that. If that was the only way of doing it, yeah, that'd be ridiculous, right? It'd be as good of just not having lights at all, right? Because then if your phone dies,
right.
That's silly. But I think that's never the only way of doing it, right? Like even the thermostats and the smoke detectors and the Nest stuff, it's still usable, right? In its base form, it's still usable. It's really overpriced, but it's usable.
Unless you wave your hands in the wrong way and then it accidentally switches off and you don't know it, and then your house burns down and you die.
Yeah, but that's something that's broken. That's something that's broken, right? We're talking about a couple different things here. One is usability. One is does it work, and another is like costs, right? All of these three things.
And the other is it having a wank for the sake of having a wank?
Yeah, that's a cost thing to me.
The Nest alarm is. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that's a cost thing.
No.
All right, well, we've reached an impasse. Dave will not be buying any Nest products. I think everybody is pretty shocked by that. See, now, okay, how about this? Would you buy a laundry folding robot?
I would rather pay a human to fold my laundry.
Yeah, but the robot has so cool, right?
Right. I don't fold my laundry.
There you go. Yeah.
I have no need.
Right. Yeah, when everything's a T-shirt, every day is wrinkle day. I've been learning that one good, too. The benefits of never leaving my basement.
Yeah. It also changes when you have kids. We have a room where we just dump clothes.
Nice.
That's it.
Nice. Yeah,
these clothes get dumped on the bed, and if anything, they might be sorted into piles. That's organisation. You know?
Yeah. Well, I this is a project from UC Berkeley, and this is actually the first time I saw the PR2 is it's a open source robot from. Well, actually, I don't know if the robot's open source, but it uses the open source robot operating system ROS.
Right, Ross.
And it's from I believe it's Willow Garage is the group that actually develops the hardware, and then people buy it and they develop for it, and it's cool to see. It's I'm not worried about the Terminator coming to fold my laundry anytime soon, but it's there's baby steps.
Is it one of those ridiculous things like using an auto router to route a board? You spend more time setting it up than you save in actual time. Is it one of those?
I think that's probably a good comparison, because it's like the 90% case. Yeah, anything could, not anything, but that's not the hard part. The hard part is like, okay, it could fold a T-shirt all the time, but what happens when your wetsuit comes through, right? And like then it's like this new corner case, and that's what humans are good at.
It's
right?
a one-off.
Yeah, the one-off, right? That's the human thing's good at, right? They just kind of figure it out and they do it as best they can, and then they move on. Whereas a robot will just keep going.
Like a pick and place machine. Often, if you're doing 100 boards, or it might be worth setting up your pick and place machine. But if you're doing 10 boards, often it's not worth your time. You're better off just doing it, right? Doing it by hand.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Or
I think
you've got one
that's
board
a separate
or 5.
thing, right? I mean, if you had the intelligence in a robot that it was doing that. I mean, really, what that comes down to is economics again, right? If you're just buying a robot just to fold laundry and you fold laundry once a week, yeah, that's stupid, right? Especially if it doesn't do it well.
Right, but if you're running Jim's laundry folding service,
exactly, right. Yeah, and then it works its way down. Yeah,
right.
There's actually an interesting a graphic I saw too, and it's just talking about the kind of the current state of robots in 2014, right? Because I'm actually reading this frigging awesome book right now. It's called The Second Machine Age. Have you ever heard of that book?
Right. No.
It's two MIT guys, Eric Binyolfsson and I forget the other guy's name. But basically,
what happened to the first machine age?
The first machine age was actually based on the combustion engine.
Oh, right. Okay.
Was it a combustion engine? Maybe a steam engine, actually. But basically, the idea was
steam, right? Yeah,
the first machine age was replacing human labor, right?
Yes,
and
right. Which would have been the steam age. Yep.
Yeah, right. Steam, and then moving into the combustion engine. I mean, really, they're the same kind of thing, right? They're built on the same principles of just spinning something mechanism. Or translating motion and replacing human labor.
Yeah.
The second machine age is doing the same thing, but with computers and basically replacing human processing and stuff like that. And what that's actually going to end up doing.
Intelligent sensors, vision, intelligent vision, and
definitely that stuff. I mean, and then moving into robotics, but then also even like automation, like a lot of automation stuff, and not the stuff that you typically think of. Like I hear for automation, I think factory automation, right? Like robots and pick and place and the robots we had in the fab and stuff like that. But even automation like tax software, right? So TurboTax, it prompts you with all these things, you put in stuff yourself, and basically automation is basically automating the task of filing taxes, whereas before you would hand an accountant all your tax stuff. And like that kind of stuff as well. Mostly like a lot of job replacement and stuff like that, and how it's going to affect us. And man, it's just the thing that really strikes me about this book. I keep telling people about this. So they talk about the you've ever heard the chessboard? The guy that invented chess. There's a parable about the guy that invented chess, and basically
he invented chess.
Yeah, it's a parable. But basically,
I thought chess was like 1,000 years old.
Yeah, right. That's the idea. That's why it's a parable, because they don't know who it is. So basically, he went to the king and he presented this game, or the emperor or whatever, and he said, I give you this chessboard. All I ask is that you give me a grain of rice for each square, and then you double it for each next square, right? And then you get to the end. You basically get to 64, and it's more rice. The amount of rice would be the size of Mount Everest. That's the idea.
Yes,
and
of course.
More rice than has ever been produced or ever will be, basically. And basically, though, the tipping point is at 32 at the 32nd square. And the way that guys talk about it, they actually talk about Moore's Law and the doubling of technology, right? And the 32nd square, in terms of generations of doublings, actually happened in 2006. And that just thumped me in the chest. And it's like you start thinking about what happened. Because they talk about a lot of stuff that they've done. Like they went
based on what metric? Based on what? Based on
generations
what metric
of doublings.
Has it gone up by 2 to the power of? Oh, you're talking about Moore's Law, like the first transistor, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. So from the inception date,
first generation
every 18
is
months.
one. Yeah. Right. So the first one was 1 transistor on a chip, and then 2, 4, 8.
Right. And you think about it, I mean, so think back to 2006, right, which is now 8 years ago, right? I was reminded that I have to get my passport redone soon. And, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, right? I mean, smartphones and they mentioned the self-driving car, but robots and just a span of 8 years and how much stuff's happened in that amount of time. It's pretty significant, right? Compared to the 8 years before it and the 8 years before that kind of thing. And, I don't know. It's just it's crazy to me. I mean, so that's what kind of really got me. That's what dug me into this book, and I'm only about halfway to 3/4 of the way through so far. So I got some more, and it's pretty economics-y, but it's a friggin' awesome book.
Of course, you love that sort of stuff.
Oh man, this is my wheelhouse. I friggin' because it ties together like economics, but then also technology, and then also Like, it even has a section at the end, like, how you can benefit from this. Like, that's the chapter I
Right.
just started. Like,
Awesome.
how freaking awesome is
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
So I'll let you guys know. I'll have something
Right,
else to sell
okay.
next week.
Oh goodness.
Why we start? Oh, because so there's this. But actually, there's an infographic about this that I posted this week as well, and it's talking about 2014 and all of the robots that there are, and basically how, what the current state of it is, right? So there's 1.2 million industrial robots. There's robot pharmacists. There's self-driving cars. There's military tech, stuff like that, and just kind of seeing this stuff changing over time. And how it's going to end up affecting us in the future, and how you can learn more about them and stuff like that. Very cool. So,
Excellent.
future's bright, man. I'm excited. Robots till they kill us.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Speaking of passports, you're going to the German show, aren't you, this year?
I am. Yeah, I'll be going to Electronica.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
that's in November. And that's what the passport's for. Actually, that's what I was thinking about. And yeah, I'm excited, man. That's going to be huge. We talked about that 2 years ago.
It's a massive
because
show.
you were thinking about maybe going to that 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. And then we started talking about how long it takes for you to get. I didn't realize that that's like one of the longest flights for you. So
It's pretty much the longest flight on the planet. Yeah, from Sydney to Hamburg or something. Yep.
Yeah, that's rough, and it's not cheap either. That's the other thing. I mean, So, but I mean, I've never been to Europe, so I have no idea what to expect. I mean,
Right.
yeah.
Well, it's much shorter for you. What is it, a 10, 12-hour flight or something?
I think it's like 8 actually. Yeah, eight
Right.
from New York.
8.
Yeah.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
Yep. Not a problem.
Yeah, so,
Right.
and then the other thing is they just announced a couple weeks ago the Open Hardware Summit will be in Rome this year. So that's
Really?
yeah.
Because it's
So
been in the same. Always been in the same location, hasn't it?
first
Why
2
is it
years it was at the New York Hall of Science. Last year it was at MIT.
Yeah, but it's all in the US, right? It's all.
Yeah, in the Northeast. Yeah,
Yeah.
so definitely same area.
Well, that's weird that it's gone to Rome.
Not that weird.
Why?
The Arduino's made about like 50 miles from there. So I think that
right. Okay, they're
probably-
driving it. Okay, they're probably
no, it's not them
sponsoring the
driving
whole-
it, but it's just like you got to move that stuff around too, right? I mean, if you want to get different groups of people showing up too, right? And that's I think
true.
some people will
Yeah,
travel
yeah.
for it, and you got to move it around, right? So hopefully next time
Right,
it'll be
you
in
think
Asia.
it might
and
get a bit stale if everyone's it's still in the US again. It's all the same people coming back. It's all the same people talking. It's all the
yeah, right, exactly. I mean, if it's
Right.
if it's the same conference every year, that does get. I mean, they can change a little bit, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't do many
I've
conferences.
see. I've turned down a couple of trips because it's the same conference in the same hotel in the same location. What's the
Right.
Like I've been there before. Like Yawn,
Right,
Like, like it's okay if it's local, right? Or if it's in Melbourne, yeah, okay, right. I'll go there, but I'm not traveling halfway around the planet to go to the same hotel in the same bloody, the same conference with the same people, and it's like,
Right.
yeah, there's
Right,
not
and
much
then you
fun
have the
in
same problem that like they, a lot of like music bands run into this, right? Like it's like, do you keep playing the same stuff and then you're called a sellout, or do you innovate and risk alienating all of your fans, right? I mean, it's the same
the
kind of
fans.
problem.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's not just music, but it's a lot of stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, it's who knows, man. And maybe those beats. I mean, maybe they'll keep moving it. I know, it'd probably make sense to send it over to China at one point, and I always enjoyed
of course. Yeah.
the summit. I've gone 2 times now. 2 times, I think.
Yep. Yeah.
So-
Yeah. You've been twice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh,
I haven't been once.
well, you should go, man. You'll get
I've
out
never
there
been
eventually.
to an international maker fair. I've never been
Yep.
to. No.
We'll
never
get
been
him
to
once
anything.
Dave builds this. Once Dave builds this mobile lab, he'll have no choice but to travel
All right. Okay.
with a gun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Once I get the bug again, you probably won't be able to stop me. Like
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't have the travel. You're just getting the travel bug, right?
Right.
So you're
Yep,
going,
yep.
woohoo! cool, you know. Well, especially to new places. I know you've been a bit down on. Oh, I've been travelling a lot, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, ebbs and flows.
Yep.
I'm kind of a homebody, so.
But to go somewhere new and exciting, that is always fun, you know.
Right, yeah, exactly. Meet new
fun.
people, see new things, try new foods. Like, that's... Drink new beers, right? To me, that's nothing. Like, trying new food and eating new... Like, that does not interest me at all, you know. And that's why Dave's in shape, folks, and I'm a big fatty fat.
No, it's just like, you know, eating food is a necessary thing to survive, you know.
I've always wished I could look at food like that. I can't.
Some people do. Like some people will do that, right? They just go on holiday to food or to eat or to shop, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, shopping, that's stupid.
See, I think the same thing about food as well. Like, it's just stupid. You know?
Well.
Food, eating just gets in the way of seeing shit. You know?
I guess so. I mean...
What? I've got to stop and eat? I've got to stop and have lunch? No! You know... Because I'll often starve on a holiday, you know, because I'm too busy, like, on the go. Seeing stuff. Oh, skip lunch today. I can't stop to eat lunch, you know. I'll just...
Dave, life is the journey. It's not the destination, man. That's... you gotta chill out, man. Yeah. So maybe this thing will end up in China. Actually, so there was just a maker fair in Shenzhen. Actually,
yes, there was.
Did you see the thing that Ian set up? Ian from Dangerous Prototypes.
No, what did he set up?
He set up a BGA reballing seminar. So,
right, yes.
So it was with the mobile phone manufacturers in the markets, and you know, go ahead.
They're the ones who reball BGAs right in front of you on their glass countertop. You know, as you wait.
Right. I mean, these guys are like wizards, and you know, so they get to. So basically, they saw all the tips and tricks from guys that are and they're not doing it with much. I mean, like they're doing, you know, they have stencils and stuff like that, but it's there's not much to it. So it's you know it's crazy. So and I think so. I was talking to Ian on Skype the other day, and he said the craziest thing about it that blew my mind is that they use what was it? Was it no flux or dry flux or dry solder paste? I think that's what it was. It was dry solder paste. Does that sound right?
Can you even get dry solder paste?
It was something weird. It was something dry. I remember the word dry.
Right. Well, there's gel based. So
that wouldn't work because the idea was that it didn't stick to the stencil. Right. So you use a stencil to basically
it didn't stick.
Re-stencil all the balls, and then you heat it up in it, and then they form up into little tiny balls of solder.
Yeah.
And there was something about not sticking to the stencil, and that was just like.
Right.
I would never tried this, right? So, but yeah, apparently like 40 people went to the thing, and Ian said they might try and do it again in the future, and I'd love to do that. That'd be cool as hell.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so very cool. And it's good to hear from him again too. It seemed like he's I think he moved his business or something over there, and
right, okay.
And so he's been doing lots of cool stuff though, and. So keep an eye on Dangerous Prototypes, folks. They're doing cool things. Actually, they had this other thing. The where the hell was it? It was like PCB routing for open source hardware. So dirtycircuits.com is actually by them, and basically they'll actually route a board for you if you want them to. And then they also started some PCB service as well. So kind of like doing that kind of stuff as well.
They don't do it themselves, though. They outsource it to somebody else, and they just handle all the transaction and
I
stuff,
think so.
Don't they?
Yeah, right.
Right.
But he said he had. I mean, the site says they have people in house too, so that's great.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
So very cool, and keep an eye. I mean, obviously, Dangerous Prototypes has been doing cool stuff for a long time, so I like those guys. They're great.
Are PCB layout designers an endangered species?
That's a good question. So this was Maxfield, who wrote this article.
Clive,
and I didn't understand the title at first. Did you understand this?
I have not read the article. I've just read the title. Are PCB layout designers an endangered species?
Yeah. So I thought it was like, is it like the end of layout, right? Is no one going to do layout? Because I was thinking, auto router and stuff like that.
He's talking about, here we go, there have been a spate of recent announcements about astoundingly cunning PCB layout technology by, a lot of your high-end, makers of the high-end tools, of course. And, your Mentor Graphics of the world and ones like that. Apparently they've got these new whiz-bang layout
sure.
tools, but no.
Good. Yeah.
No,
they're talking about the people, like people
Right.
that are just doing layout, right? So this is what you started doing, is that right? Is this how you started?
I didn't start, but I have been a full-time company's full-time PCB designer. Yeah. So all the designs would come to me, there'd be a whole bunch of design. Like I'd also do, it wasn't just my only it wasn't my only job. I also did some design work as well. But if anyone had a board to lay out in the company, it would come to me. And,
okay.
Yeah.
Right, and so I've worked at places where there's been like a couple people that were doing just doing layouts, right?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
And so that's who he's talking about here, right? I was thinking when I first glanced at it, I was like, oh, well, are they getting rid of like layout, thinking like, oh, auto routers are getting better and stuff like that? And that's a load of malarkey. If that happens, it probably will be past the time when I'm working on boards ever again.
There's lots of advantages to having the same person or the same department do your layouts over and over, and your schematics and stuff like that. They've got all the libraries down pat. They're going to use consistent libraries, and they're going to use consistent layout techniques. They're going to use consistent bed of nails, test point, systems. There's a lot of advantage to, they know what parts are in the inventory, so they're going to reuse parts and stuff like that. They'll handle the bombs and all that sort of stuff. And there's lots of advantages to standardizing on the person or at least the procedure for doing.
Oh, yeah, definitely that. I think outside of that, too, is, so the designers I've always worked with, they just knew way more than I ever would know, right? Impedance matching and, like routing out channels and stuff like all of just the really tough stuff in PCB layout, right? They live that. They breathed it, right? That's why you're probably so good at it, right? You know it because you have to go figure it out, right?
I did it all day, every day. And then you intimately know your board manufacturer, know what their limitations are, know what their capabilities are, all that sort of stuff. Whereas, if Joe Blogg's engineer comes along, I got a new circuit, I'm going to lay out a board, and then, it's unmanufacturable.
Right.
Because they just didn't know. They just didn't know. They might be a very good PCB design engineer, but if you don't know your limitations and capabilities of your system and your suppliers and your manufacturers and everything else, your assemblers, then, you're going to get a shitty product out the other end, or you risk getting a shitty product. So
right, definitely. Well, I think Max is asking a question. It's a good question here, actually, because I think traditionally the traditional role where it's like every single board had to go through the CAD group and stuff like that. That's definitely not happening, right? This is just a stratification of experience.
In my experiences.
Right, but people can go grab KiCad or Eagle or something like that, and they can go push a board to Oshpark, right? Unless the company puts something in place where you can't do that. I'm saying that that stuff's available now, right? You can do it. You can do small stuff without rocking the boat. Whereas in the past, when it was like you had to have a $5,000 seat, you had to go to the and get a full prototype run done with $500 some, right? That just wasn't possible.
$500,000,
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. So I think
people forget that's the way it used to be. It was $500 to $1,000 to spin a board, right? People are so used to, you can get one for $20 if you wait a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
Game's totally changed.
Right, definitely. And I think that's what he's bringing up here. And it's like, I think it's just what it ultimately is just more people doing layout stuff. I think that actually is going to increase the need for like the expertise because there's there's still specialized tools. People will standardize on the lower end tools like the KiCads and Eagles and stuff like that for just the small stuff. And then there's no reason to even learn it if it's like, oh, well, I've got this guy at my company who uses the Cadence stuff or uses the Altium stuff, and they're really, really good with it, and they can do all the fancy keystrokes and fanciness, right? And yeah, that's going to stick around, I think. But it's not going to be a growth industry. Yep. It's not going to be like we need thousands and thousands of new PCB layout designers, right? We need experts. That's actually another thing in that book.
Well,
I love that book. Yeah. It's actually, so this is kind of interesting here too, because basically the idea is if you're not first, you're last, right? So if you're not at the top, right? It's all power law distribution stuff. If you're not in the short head, right, of like you get all, basically you get all of the work, right? You're the Apples where you're selling all the computers, you're the, you're selling all the iPods and stuff like that. You're the top of your field. You're getting all the requests. You're automatically last, right? There is no silver medal. That's kind of the idea in this new economy that we're living in, and I think that this kind of fits into that, right? If you're not the top PCB designer who's like sought after, right, doing the very fanciest stuff, then you're doing nothing, right? You're not going to be doing some small little board with a $10,000 design package. So
okay.
I love that book. I got to finish it so I can speak about it with more authority. Probably reread it, yeah.
So then you can have a wank over the next book that you get obsessed with.
Dude, I love reading. I love reading and pretending I know what I'm talking about.
But it's like every book you read changes your life. Like, oh, no, then, I got to change my life. I've got to do all this stuff. It makes so much sense. If I just do this, I'll be rich and famous. And
Probably not, but,
Right, well, yeah.
At least I'll have something to talk about on the show. How about that?
Right, exactly. Oh, boy.
You're just a cynical old man. You need to reinvigorate yourself with a new office and a new lab built into a suitcase. That's what you need to do.
I'm going to go do that right now because we're over time. I'm going down the road. I'm going to talk to the real estate agent and...
Good.
Yep.
Good stuff, man. Well, good luck in your search. Well,
just like you reading these books, nothing will come of it.
Well, whatever.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, people can get their questions in for Mike of LT Spice. We'll have a Reddit post about that, so be sure to do that for next week.
Cool.
Talk to you then.
Bye.